Well, hello there. Good evening and welcome. This is Strong and Sassy on your superstation Joy 99.7 FM. It's so amazing to be here with you tonight, and thank you again for staying tuned in. So, Strong and Sassy is brought to us by Sunseekers Tours. Memories of our tours are forever. Sunseekers Tours, making priceless memories. And let me say a very good evening to Mr. Kwame Ansong, who is Sunseekers Tours, basically. I'll be telling you a little bit more about our upcoming trip to Zanzibar. A little later on the show. So we're going to Zanzibar.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty exciting. I'll give you the details later and you can join us. And let's go and chill a little bit. But okay, so straight into the conversation tonight. We're talking about being married and dissatisfied. But I'm going to say being married and unhappy. I think that's a little easier. And people get really excited about getting married. I think the first marriage, people are really excited about getting married.
What do you think the first
I'm
marriage?
just saying, I think the excitement level goes down.
Okay.
There's nothing quite like your first marriage when you haven't been there, done that.
It's like having your first child.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you love the second and the third and the
You
fourth,
do,
but
but
the novelty is, yeah. So anyway, and I was thinking, if we're that excited about getting married, then we should be excited when we are married.
absolutely.
And but then you find that lots of people are desperately unhappy. So tonight we're exploring that. We're exploring those who are unhappy. We're not arguing about whether people are happy or they are unhappy. We're talking about why they are unhappy.
We're trying to explore
'Cause
why.
I can see you already coming to do.
No, when you said desperately unhappy, I was thinking, do you really need the phrase desperately in there?
Because there's some people who are so. I mean, I've spoken to a few people, and they're just like, it's so horrible. They're like, we're so lonely, and it's terrible, and I wish I could get out, but because of the children, and so you
In
do.
Sempi.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let me introduce my guests, my girls for tonight. I have Pamela, who's joining us again. Hello, Pamela.
Hello, everyone.
She
It's
makes the
pleasure to be
best
back.
cheesecakes ever.
I know, and
Ever.
amazing organic fresh juices as well.
Hey, this is how we promote our business.
I know, right?
And
Bring your gifts
Ifa.
for a touch of wrap that you would love for
Oh,
days
that's
to come.
nice. I won't cheese people. But last time he sends cheesecake, I didn't give them.
So you sent it.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I know,
She
right?
ate it all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, Pamela, you know what? Men can't draw more, but no so.
This is how we reveal people's secrets. Ifa also joining us. Ifa is a regular. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
joining
Hi,
us via
everyone.
Zoom, the latest grandmother in town, Stephanie. I love how your head just came up. Latest grandmother. We've been seeing you holding the little baby, and I think you're even glowing as much as the newborn mummy. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me. I'm just going to put you up a little bit. I think
We can't hear you. Is your audio muted or it's
I'm not even sure what's happening here. Hold on a second. It's not muted.
okay, we can hear you now. I think we can hear you now. And Stephanie Benson is joining us all the way from across the ocean. Congratulations on the new baby. We're really happy for you. Awesome. Okay, so tonight we're talking, like I said, about being married and unhappy. So I'm going to start in studio and then I'll come to Stephanie. So let me start with you, Pamela. Why do you think that people are unhappy? Those who are unhappy.
I think
Have
there's
you
a
met
lot of-
people who are unhappy?
Personally, no. I have met those who tend to have, the everyday challenges, the mood swings. 1 minute he pisses you off or she pisses me off, but the next minute
We're
Yeah,
fine.
they're fine. But those that literally, feel like they are in a prison, sort of, not really.
No, okay.
But when you tend to have a chat with people, those even older than me, and their marriage experiences and stuff, then you realize that sometimes it's not all milk and honey. There are dry seasons. But I think it all boils down to choices. Because the challenges will come. It's just like when you said you have a new baby. You are so over the moon. You're so overwhelmed. But as they grow and they start to wind you up, you start to say stop it and you feel like pulling your hair out. You're thinking, seriously? The same little cute bunny that was, so quiet and cuddly and everything. Now stop it, stop it, stop it. And sometimes they'll tell you, Mommy, why? Now my son is my height and somehow he thinks he's my age.
Yeah.
Yes. Does that mean I love him any less? No, it's a phase. So it's a choice you have to make to try and work through that phase. So in terms of being unhappy, I think there will be variables and circumstances that could bring about those situations. But the bottom line is all about choices. But I'm sure as we're having a conversation,
It
we're
will
going to
come out more,
explore
yeah.
the different things that makes we'll be unhappy to say, so wahala.
Yeah. Okay. So then I guess that it's quite a clear difference between being unhappy and being dissatisfied.
I think it's a fine line, but it all kind of like falls in the same bracket, though it is a fine line. But yeah, whatever explanations one could give for being unhappy could also basically lead to being dissatisfied.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Ifa, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that as Pamela said, it all boils down to the choices that we make. And like you rightly said, when you're going into your maybe like a first marriage or when you're going to get married, you're so excited, so you might tend to overlook certain things. And sometimes an example could be you confuse somebody's role or their profession to be their character. So for instance, you see a singer who sings beautifully at church, and you think that, oh, this woman will make a nice wife. You don't take your time to know her character. You just go ahead and marry her because she sings very well. And then you get married and at home you realize that the character and the singing,
Or to your man at home, come sunny.
they don't match. So sometimes we should take our time, and know the people that we are getting married to.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Let me come to you, Stephanie. So we're talking about being dissatisfied, stroke unhappy, and asking why does that happen sometimes? Why are people sometimes just really unhappy or just dissatisfied in their marriages? Can you unmute? Yeah.
Oh, there. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
hear
we
me
can
now?
hear you.
Great. Well, I think the two separate things, because you can deal with being unsatisfied, because unsatisfied is just homing in on what it is that you're unhappy on, not satisfied with, and deal with it. But unhappy is another thing. We can be dissatisfied with sex, communication, financial situation, whatnot. But unhappy is pretty much everything in one. It could be just how the guy or your husband communicates with you, how he makes you feel, more than just being dissatisfied with just sex, or maybe um, your financial situation and what you want, as in how you want to be living and how you want to be. So unhappiness can come with just not having great communication. You can deal with financial situation, you can deal with the sex being bad, but when you're unhappy, it's harder to come out of that, because sometimes people cannot project why they're unhappy. They're just unhappy with a relationship. When you're in love with somebody, sometimes you can overcome a lot of things, but that in the beginning, love goes away. I mean, the in love thing goes away, and it becomes a friendship, and the friendship builds into something else. And with that, you recognize so much more of the things that the person does that really irritates you or annoys you, and then that's when you can come together and deal with it. Sometimes those things break down and then cause you to be unhappy. I hope you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
Hello?
I do.
I think, was I unmuted again?
No. I could hear you.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing with me is, if you leave me to it, me, I'll talk, and then nobody else will talk.
It's fine. No, I'll tell you when to stop talking. Listening.
No, I'm saying that, I talk. That's what I do. I can't help it. I have too many children, and I talk, and then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And now
shut me up.
grandchildren as well. So, but you make a good point
I don't
about the
have grandchildren.
dissatisfied
I have
and
one grandchild. Stop it.
well, it's a good start. I mean, one is always a good start. Then two, three, four. We'll see. But you make a good point about the difference between being dissatisfied and being unhappy. Do you think that our expectations going into marriage kind of set us up for these negative feelings?
Yeah, I think expectations are really put onto us as we grow up. I mean, it's what our parents tell us, and what the sort of the pressure they put on us to when we get into marriages. I mean, usually this happens a lot more in Africa. I have to say that Pamacho PUI. I think it's generally, Africans that put so many pressures on ladies and men and to deliver. So some people go into marriages expecting so much, and sometimes these men, when they want to be with somebody, they promise them the earth.
Yeah.
So the women go into wanting so much and getting disappointed, and this is where the dissatisfaction comes in. Are you guys there? Because I've lost.
Yeah,
everybody.
we're here. We're listening.
Yeah, and that's where the dissatisfaction comes in, because you can't cater to what your parents want you to be to do for them and whatnot. So the expectations are huge. I mean, I feel sorry for this generation. Outside of just expectations of the parents, there's that how you should look. And nowadays it's all about if you don't have a big house, nobody wants to marry you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, sure.
It's like, the expectations are crazy because they're going on Instagram and finding all that that people are portraying that's not actually really real, and the pressures on them and trying to satisfy their heart. It's the pressures on women nowadays is harder.
Yeah, no,
It's
it
hard.
is. It is. So let me come back in studio and let's talk about expectations for a second. How do you guys feel about the kinds of expectations that?
And it's really sad that I heard a young lady speak before. Hello.
Hi, hello.
Hi. You guys didn't say hello to me. Why?
Oh, hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you? And
Maybe I'll say
congratulations.
it. I'm fine, thank you.
Forgive.
Okay, you were saying something about a young lady.
Oh no, I was just saying that I wanted to see her face. That's all, but it's all good.
Oh, okay, okay.
I
all
think
right.
I think the camera here blocks me.
Yeah,
so-
the
or
camera
was it
does,
you?
but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to expectations.
Oh, there she is. Hello.
Hiya. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Hello.
Hi, Stephanie.
Why do you guys look so good? It's like you guys,
We're
Thank
learning
you.
from
Really?
you.
you're
We're learning
who?
from you.
If you're learning from me, you'd
Yes.
be wearing next to nothing in that studio.
Wow. Okay. This is the
I'm
third
joking,
time
I'm
I'm
joking,
saying
I'm
this. Expectations. So what do you guys think about the expectations that, people have when they're going into marriages, which then brings, the dissatisfaction and how do you feel about it?
I think to add to what Stephanie said, expectations sort of is a broad spectrum. Expectations from parents, like she mentioned, then even expectations from each other, the two parties involved.
Yeah.
And also you have expectations from society, church, friends. So all those things sometimes sort of push individuals into doing things that, permit me to say, maybe they have not thoroughly thought it
Thought it through.
through. So the excitement of like to say, hey, I'm getting married, or hey, and then with society now and Instagram and everything, the showcasing of, so they can't wait to also showcase this and stuff. So they don't sort of really look at the blueprint of what actually they are getting or getting themselves into.
Yeah.
And it's after they've gotten themselves into it, then they go like, huh?
What have I done?
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
as if like suddenly, so.
Yeah.
But then
Now
they say
it's
love is blind and marriage is an eye opener. So obviously something would see free on Niso.
Yeah, but the
No,
thing is,
but sorry, no. I would love to hear your voice take on this one. Because she's been
Yeah.
quiet.
Okay, so people are dating, they put their best foot forward. They do things, as Pamela said, they cannot sustain in marriage.
Yeah.
Or be to me for 3 times a day, checking up on you, coming to visit you and all that. But the minute you get married, you live in the same house, he or she goes to work, they don't check on you. You might start thinking that, hey, I didn't pano, he doesn't feel me anymore, she doesn't feel me anymore. That may not be the case, but they say, I mean, you are living together, we are married. So people start taking each other for granted too. So things they were doing before they got married, they stopped doing those things. And it sort of makes the other party feel like, hey, what has changed about me that you're not doing those things again?
Yeah.
So it makes you unhappy or it makes you dissatisfied. Yes.
That's a good point. How much
And
we
I
change,
think,
yeah.
yes, how much we change. I think the other thing too is, like she said, when you're trying to get, should I say, a reward or a package, you know how you yearn and look forward to it. Even with children, you buy them a new toy. Look at how they cherish it, adore it. They wouldn't even, when it drops, they are even almost having a panic
They
attack.
sleep with it.
But give it a couple of days, up to like a week, then that same toy that they would not even, let go of or even sleep without, suddenly, where's your toy? Oh, mommy, it's somewhere in the room. But as adults, when, like Stephanie said, when that excitement phase passes, because those are the bubbles,
Yeah.
and when those bubble phase passes, that is when the real deal actually begins. And for me, I think expectations, having going through changes and everything, it all goes under a big umbrella, which is communication. So if from the word go, you are not communicating properly, then obviously once you get married, things change, and sometimes you might struggle to even communicate those things across. For example, when she talked about expectations, and maybe, like you said, the guy or the lady calls you God knows how many times, I miss you, you go on dates and everything, and suddenly he feels like, oh, now I'm married, so I really don't have to be doing those things anymore.
Yeah.
You've got to talk about it. Oh, Efwa, when we were dating, you are the one who even hustle me, like, this weekend, where are we going and stuff like that. And you don't do that anymore. And this is how it makes me feel. Or is there anything more to it why you've stopped doing those things? And if I also supposed to be able to be open enough to also say, hun,
Yeah, I finished the
ABC,
campaign. I've married you. You really don't expect me to keep trying.
to also communicate, because I don't know, sometimes too, you might want to communicate, but maybe you're not sure of how the person is going to react.
To the thing you're going to
Is the person going to read into it? Is he going to take it on face value? So then you think, should I or should I not? And there are times too that maybe you may have communicated and maybe nothing was done about it. You communicated again, nothing was also done about it. So maybe by the third or fourth time,
You're tired.
you're tired.
Yeah.
So then you decide that, you know what, forget, I will just adjust and make do.
Yeah.
And when that is when the dissatisfaction starts to kick in. And like Stephanie said, a dissatisfaction is what, when it builds up eventually to a large extent, will
You
lead to
become
unhappiness.
unhappy. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so Stephanie, let me come back to you. And two things that Pamela said. One, the fact that after we get married, we change in the way that we treat our partners sometimes, some people. So I just want you to talk about that, the impact of that change, and if it is an unrealistic expectation to have that your partner doesn't change. Should we expect that, we will change or we will let go a little bit? And then second thing, okay, I can't remember the second thing. So whilst you're answering the first
Why you're
thing,
thinking-
then I'll try and remember the second thing.
Yeah. When it comes to changing, of course, we all change. We all have to change. As we grow older, we change. Men fall in love with their eyes. So when you get married, you really do need to switch it up. I always say this on my page all the time. You can't, well, not that you can't. You could stay the same, but the thing is, you shouldn't and you wouldn't. So you have to expect that you will change. So if you're I feel like my responsibility when I married my husband is to make sure that I keep his attention. And keeping his attention is making sure that I grow in a positive way. And as I get older, I see things differently. I'm sort of open to exploring more things. And you have to bring them into what you're learning softly. Not all men are capable of doing that, but there are ways of doing it, I think, with anybody. I don't care what culture it is. And the thing is, women in Africa, we give ourselves too many excuses not to do something. Because so that's not how it's done. Or if I do it, there's somebody, or he doesn't like it. Oh, that's how black men are. Those kind of excuses is what stunts our growth in marriages and then leads to people complaining so much. You see, if you start to think like that, you close your mind. I have a lot of men who come in my DM who talk to me about, oh, she's not doing this, she's not doing this. They want you to be a little bit more verbal. Yes, not everyone, because some of them, they are so scared of their own shadow that they don't want to hear what somebody has to say. Their egos takes over. But there's a small minority of those. The young ones are wanting somebody who is on their level. So you need to be able to titillate them with your body a little bit. I know we lose track of, we think when we get married, oh no, is the sex part is okay, it's okay, he knows me. No, they want you to bring it sometimes. And it's not about just turning over with your big ass in the air and that, I'm sorry, let me just say it. Why, Pamacho? Is it too early?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
We're enjoying it.
I just want to be sure before I continue, because I don't want you guys to be cut off the air. But yeah, I just think that sometimes some of the women think, oh, he likes you making love to me, from behind and what, and that's all they stick to. But no, sometimes you have to switch it up. You have to bring them into your world. You have to be able to create certain situations to keep your marriage exciting. Because when the men lose that thing that brought you to them in the first place, which gets tired after you're married, he wants something else. So you have to keep bringing it. You have to keep making him excited. You have to make sure that every time he comes home, not every day, but when he comes home, he's not going to see the same person, the same behavior. Or let me bring your food. Oh, how do you want this? No, give him something. You can still do the same things, but then make it a little bit more exciting. And I think you have to create your own happiness. Otherwise, you won't be. Because if you're waiting for the man to make you happy, it won't happen. So I always say to young ladies who come to me and ask me questions, that I say, listen, you can't say he's not making me happy. He doesn't listen to me. He doesn't listen. I'll keep talking out till you listen. We'll especially if you still love him. If you don't love him, then all those things, they're not fixable, because you tell yourself they're not going to be fixable. He'll never change. And some people, when they think it's not fixable, they're just living it in a marriage unhappy. But some things are fixable. Some men want to be with you, but they cheat because they're bored. I think sometimes when people get bored, I'm not excusing it. I don't excuse cheating. My husband cheated. He won't have his balls. But the fact of the matter is, I want to make sure that he finds me attractive every time he comes home.
Yeah. Okay. So we're back in studio, right? Okay, Pamela, you wanted to say something.
I wanted to add to it that yes, Stephanie's taking it from the female perspective.
Yeah.
But I think we should also look at it from the male perspective, because a female too can be doing all the things she's saying, but if the guy doesn't really make her feel like the things I am doing for you, you like it, you love it, and maybe compliment you once or twice and now doesn't compliment you anymore, and you're still doing all those things, eventually, would you really still keep on doing it? You would. Yes.
I think Stephanie wants to respond.
Yeah, sorry. So yes. I was actually going to talk about the male perspective as well, because I told you that I get a lot of texts from and DMs from men who say, their wives are not doing this because they're open to it. I'm just saying that as a woman, and obviously I can speak as a woman, that I think some women have to stop making excuses about the fact that they marry African men. We do that a lot. But on the other side, on the flip side, yes, men sometimes can be a little bit one-track mind. Because if you go over the top, sometimes they think, oh, okay, well, then why have you changed? I hear that too. That I don't want to changing. Why is she being? But it's not because they don't want you changing. Usually they're scared. So you have to take your time, like little by little. And I think men sometimes have to allow their wives to be a bit more open. Sometimes you have to just, again, like as a woman would learn how to make herself a little bit more exciting, the men should also learn to listen more. It's not always about your ego. If you want a happier marriage, you do have to leave your ego at the door when you walk home, because you become equals. I don't care who is earning the most money. You become equals when you walk into your house. The both of you have to be able to communicate. Allow easy communication. I mean, both people have to learn how to communicate without anger. I mean, unfortunately, as Africans, our manner is a bit confrontational sometimes when we're speaking. It does happen. It's the way we're brought up. But some men can take it personally and think you're being disrespectful, because I hear that. The men say, oh, she's very disrespectful. If I allow her to talk, she's going to say this by heart. That's what I hear. But, sometimes if you are frustrated, allow her to kasa by heart kakra. So far she doesn't swear at you, the same way you would get upset that she's talking by heart. You too, maybe she doesn't like it if you're controlling. So sometimes it's easier to be able to communicate without swearing. Make us say, I'm saying it passionately. Sometimes we're very passionate people and we can just talk a bit passionately. And men have to understand that when a woman is talking passionately, she's unhappy or dissatisfied with something. So they should take your time and listen. It's not always about your ego.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's definitely not always about the ego. Is a big thing in dissatisfaction, isn't it?
Because you know how they say that men are logical thinkers. They see problem, all they want to do is find a solution. But women, we are bag of emotions. So like Stephanie said, we're a bag of emotions. So sometimes it's all about just listening to what the person is saying to you. But if you make her to feel like, what she's saying is falling on deaf ears, then you don't really necessarily want to show the person that you care about them.
Yeah.
But if you listen, and sometimes they even can surprise you. You thought, oh, maybe like they were not listening, but then whatever it is you said, maybe they would have done something about it, and you realize that you say that, oh, actually, what I said, he heard it.
Yeah.
And for me, I think women in general, as much as they say we are very complicated and we are a handful and everything, I think the bottom line is once you get to understand a woman, that we have different emotions, different times and stuff, it will be easier for a gentleman or a husband or a guy to make his partner or his girlfriend or his wife more happy.
More,
because these are the fundamental things women always complain about. Like Stephanie said, he doesn't listen, he doesn't care, he doesn't do this for me anymore, and all those things. It's all about the little girl inside us wanting to come out. And when a woman is happy, when all those concerns of hers, she feels like it's being met, and everything. Like Stephanie said, there's nothing she wouldn't do for you. Say them, say one thing.
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. No, definitely. Definitely. And when she's unhappy, well, it's hell.
Yes. Because they say unhappy woman makes an unhappy home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes before the marriage, some serious questions are not addressed. They're just under the carpet, and then everything is fine.
Yeah.
But when you go into the marriage, then those issues come out, and you don't know how to solve it. So I think that our counselors should help us when it comes to these areas.
So having realistic conversations.
Yes,
yes. Otherwise, it's really just a waste of time.
Yes, and then you enter his age. I was not told it was how it was.
Yeah.
And if you don't take care, God doesn't help you. The marriage will just break within the first year.
Yeah.
So I think some of these hard questions or conversations should be had.
Okay, so I want to talk about sexual dissatisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
And because most of the time you hear people say that when a marriage goes bad, one of the first things that go out of I don't know that goes out the window or the door or the roof or wherever, is sex. One of the first things that goes is that. So it's always interesting how, before, from what I've heard, before people get married, the fires are burning. It's like, hey. And then after they get married, I don't know what changes, whether we let, life get into the bed. Then there's some people who say, whether you're upset or not upset, you should always be able to find a place when it comes to sex. You shouldn't say no, you shouldn't. So it becomes a bit of a difficult, because women are so emotional about sex and men are they're not logical about it. They're just, blood doom, ready to go. So I think I'm going to start with Stephanie on that one. So Stephanie, we're coming to you. We're talking about sexual satisfaction versus dissatisfaction and why that happens. When you get married and all the issues and stuff come, how do you kind of like prevent that from dying? Because once you're not touching each other anymore and not loving on each other anymore, then the little problems become more magnified. I think especially more for men than women. Yeah.
You see, men can be angry and then still want to have sex with you. But women, we're governed by emotions. So if the man irritates us, we don't really want to try, and sex is sort of off the table. So I usually say that sometimes when it comes to sex, we have to think like men, whether they like it or not. It's hard, especially when you're married, but you do actively have to make yourself do it. When I say that, people go, but why if I don't feel like it? But that's the problem. Men want that. It's not about the emotions of sex. It's just sex. It's not making love. They really just want to have sex, So when there's various times when a man would want to make love to you, especially when you've had a lovely evening and you come home and then, you've had a little bit of a drink and then you create like the emotional environment and then you make love. But generally day to day, they just want to have sex. And that sex doesn't come with just lying on your back and then him like in and out. Sometimes you have to create those moments. I always say at least once a week, you do have to create it, even if you don't feel like it. And the more you do it, the more it becomes a part of what you do. And so that's always what I encourage. I do it all the time. Even sometimes the weekend I'm thinking, okay, the guy really pissed me off. I'm not in the mood, but I'm thinking, oh, it's okay. Let me get myself in the mood. I sometimes will play some music that makes me feel good, or I'll put something a little naughty on the TV to get me in the mood. And sometimes you usually would get yourself in the mood. So you have to create moments. You just don't give up because you're angry or you just don't feel like it. That's when their eyes wander. And also women have to see sex and sex and making love is two separate things. Men, when they're married, sometimes just want to have sex. In fact, most of the time. So make yourself.
So before I come back in studio, just a quick question for you again, Stephanie. So it would seem as if in terms of regular sex or keeping the sex alive in the marriage, it's more likely the woman who will kill it.
Well, no, it is because our emotions govern how we feel. There's no question. When I'm truly angry with my husband, I withhold sex. I do. Because it doesn't matter what he says. We fall in love with our ears, women. So what a man tells us and how they make us feel. For men, it's their eyes. So even if they're angry with you, they'll go into bed and they'll have sex with you.
Yeah.
Well, at least most men. But women, if you've irritated us, we're just not in the mood. So usually we have to feel good to want to make love. But men really just want to have sex.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I agree with Stephanie. I think sometimes we feel that the sex, when we're having sex, we are doing a favor to our husband or something like that. But we should change that mentality. It's supposed to be enjoyable for the two of you. So you try to bring it on. Think of innovative ways you can make the bedroom interesting for your husband,
and for yourself.
And for yourself, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Not for him.
Just be him.
And not for yourself as well. But if you just tune out and you don't be in the choir, you not enjoy it. You feel like you are being used. But at least you try. You try to play an active role, innovative ways, and then bring it on, as Stephanie said.
Pamela, I know you're going to say, but also on the same thing, you do find that there are lots of women who are dissatisfied when it comes to sex. Is it because we're not a society that promotes exploration, within a safe relationship? Or is it that, a lot of our men, I think it was Marilyn, I think we had a show, and Marilyn trended for this, talking about the fact that a lot of men just don't know what they are doing. I don't know if you want to trend. I don't know if you want to trend as well. But I mean, sometimes the dissatisfaction is really in the performance.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what do you think about that in terms of in
I
marriage?
think,
and being
it's about
dissatisfied?
knowing each other and knowing
Yeah.
yourself. Because like you said, yes, there are some situations where men don't know what they're doing. But there are some situations too that women don't even know
What they should do.
What they
would make
want.
them take to give them the orgasm and the,
Yeah, true.
climax. So if you yourself don't know to actually even direct him in a very
How
seductive
do you
way.
know yourself?
Oh, anymore.
Oh yes, let's talk about it. We are.
I mean,
we are-
practice makes perfect. Practice with I mean, yeah, makes perfect.
I feel
Sorry,
like Stephanie
sorry.
wants to say something. I mean, who can you?
You have to learn to
Yeah.
touch yourself. I think women are afraid to touch their bodies. You do. You have to explore what your bodies feel like. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if you're having sex with anything. You're going to come if it's clitoris stimulated, no question. So not 99. Maybe 97% of women climax from clitoris stimulation. At least 85% of women do not climax by penetration alone.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
men need to understand that, sometimes if a woman is not coming, ask. And if you're not asking, ladies, when you're sitting on him or when you're doing whatever, do it yourself. I mean, play with yourself and climax. Because climax is everything. It relieves so much tension. I always say that. We have to climax more, either with him or without him.
To ease
It makes us
tension.
happier.
Yeah.
So I think men should learn that. Some women say the man will not go and then and lick. I'm not afraid to talk like that, but I don't know what time it is over there.
It's
so I
7
don't-
o'clock. It's 7. It's 7:45. So
So
yeah.
I'm trying to watch what I say. That's why I'm stuttering.
Yeah,
but
I
usually
think
would
maybe
just
you
say
should
it.
be a little bit more what's the word? Figurative.
Musuma pesag. That's the thing. Okay, let me. Okay, so I'm just saying that they have to learn to play with themselves when they're with a man. If he's not satisfying all the time, but the men actually need to pay attention to how the women feel when they're making love. I get texts from or DMs from guys who say, "You don't know what sex is. I'm going to bang you out." Sorry, I'm so sorry. And I'm thinking, you guys, that's all you think. You think the banging is what it is. It isn't.
Yeah.
It's about the touching.
You
it's
mean
about
the mechanical
feeling.
action? I think that's what we
Yes,
should
so
call
I'm saying
it.
my
Yeah.
dear, submit to me. I think that. I'm sorry. But yeah, I have to keep saying I'm sorry. But yes, and I just think they're lost in the whole idea of having sex. Let's forget about making love. Sex is two people enjoying, not just the man going like at it, like it's
Yeah.
because he thinks it's just about the playing, the 69
Exploration, reading the books
whole
and
thing.
yeah.
Yes, that's what makes like sex exciting, even if you're not married.
So just a quick
when
question.
they talk like that, I sit back and
A quick question for you, and then I'll ask you guys as well. Do you think that in a marriage, it's almost like to each his own? I mean, you must be responsible on a certain level for knowing your own frequency or whatever of satisfaction, the thresholds of satisfaction, so that you can teach. Or is the responsibility always on the other person to make sure that you are satisfied?
No, I think you both have to learn about each other. The women should not be afraid to teach a man what they like. Subtly, it doesn't have to be no. So you say no. It's all about guiding. I mean, sometimes when I'm with my husband, for instance, and maybe he's been playful and his finger's not in the right point, I will just guide it. Like my you're missing the, sorry. Yeah, you just bent your head. Did I say something wrong? But
No, you did. I'm like, if somebody's scratching your back and they're not scratching the right place, then you just show them where to scratch. I think that's a better metaphor. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. I know metaphors, but in this case, I think metaphors. Some people will get lost in it. Why? So yeah, just guided kakra. So I think maybe we just learn to guide a man as to what it is
What
that
works,
makes it. Yeah. So it's not really about being responsible for your own pleasure, but sometimes you do have to be responsible for your own pleasure. It's not every time that is going to find the right point or do the right thing. But I think learning about each other is important. Yes, a man would climax by penetration, but sometimes if you go through the other hole as well with your finger while he's penetrating, it's a different kind of climax for the man. I know you wanted figuratively. I just did. I don't think anybody even got what I said, but it's a shame I can't say it. But you know what I mean, guys, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I told you not to invite me on this. I'm trying desperately.
Well, I am sure that a lot of our listeners are really enjoying the honesty. And it's important. These conversations are so important because there's so many people who are like dying from dissatisfaction, under the duvet. Like, is this all that there is to it?
It's about talking about it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, I want to believe, have this problem because they do not talk about it.
Yeah.
Even whilst the action is going on, communicate. Like you said, look at the body language.
Yeah.
That and that will even tell you if you are hitting the right spot or not.
But don't you find that people who have a good relationship talk?
Yes.
They talk during
so during it. And sometimes even after you can talk about it. Like, what was your favorite part?
Yeah.
What did you enjoy?
Stephanie mentioned that it's not just about love, there should be friendship.
Yeah.
So if you are friends, you'll not be shy.
You say, who come back and I want to
you'll
them
not be shy to say,
to
for last year, no, I mean, do it this way. Or even as the act is going on, you can
you're like,
guide.
yo, stop.
Yeah.
We need to start
Yeah.
again.
or
Restart.
roll over.
Yes.
Something. I mean,
Start afresh.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be shy. That friendship needs to be there.
Yeah, but it
there's no
comes from a
friendship-
place of friendship. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're not...
It does because
no
like
friendship.
marriage, I think as a whole is friendship.
Yes.
And when you have a good relationship with your friend, you could see that you'll be friends for these years. You will have your differences. You might not agree on certain things and
Yeah.
stuff, but you always come back, resolve it amicably,
Yeah.
and the friendship still goes on.
Yeah.
And that's what marriage is supposed to be. So like you said, that's where you're supposed to be yourself.
Yes.
I mean, utumi pound toma
Yeah.
and be okay with
But
it.
then there's also the argument that you shouldn't be too much of yourself. Because no, I don't mean in a negative way, but remember from what Stephanie said in the beginning, is not get too comfortable so that all your husband sees on the daily is you in hairnet and you've tied your hair with
Oh
cloth.
no, not
But
that
you
one.
yourself,
No,
you should
not
have some
that
goals,
one.
some personal
Aha,
goals.
that's
Exactly.
what I'm
You don't want to be
saying.
that wife who's always
Everyone,
into
no, not that one.
Yeah,
not
but
that
you
one.
know that
Nothing-
growing
there's-
up, a lot of the women that we saw, those women I saw growing up, were always in their hairnets.
And then cloth
that
around
was,
there.
cloth around
But
their
but
chest.
that's-
but now things have changed.
Thank you.
Things have changed now.
Yes, but there still is that temptation to get so comfortable with this person who is your best friend, who you're married to, that you stop making an effort. Why do I need to do my nails as much? Why do I need to look nice for him? So I go and do my hair in the salon. As soon as I get home, I tie it with a scarf, and he doesn't see your hair till Sunday morning because it is under the scarf.
But that is what if it's a good friendship relationship, you should be comfortable to tell you, say, I tell you why.
Makoye Mitiabo, I mean, how's
And,
my
or
hair?
you know
you
what?
would
I'll
say
pay
that.
for it. Let's go. I'm taking you to the.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
yes. No, I don't. Then he comes. You come home and like, I love the way you look.
Yeah, no, but all I'm saying is that we
Come and sit
women
here.
do
Let's-
that sometimes.
You know?
we
Yeah.
get
I
comfortable.
agree.
Especially when
We
children come
get
in.
comfortable.
We forget about the husband and it's all the kids.
The children,
kids,
children,
kids.
children. Yeah, we're
And then
not
when the
making
kids
an
leave their
effort.
home, that gap is there. And how to bridge that gap.
No, that
That's
I
the
agree
problem.
with. Or now I'm married, so I don't have to put in so much effort
Yeah.
anymore.
I
But
stopped,
I miss
I
it.
stopped
That's
wearing
wrong.
belts around my
Yeah,
stomach
I
and
agree.
fake hips because now I'm married.
I
So,
miss it.
yeah,
so
I'm
you're
not gonna make
absolutely
an
right
effort,
that
yeah.
yes,
And
we
also-
all agree that we need to sort of always check ourselves.
Keep
Yes.
the romance.
Keep it.
Yeah.
And I think in another dimension too, it makes you as an individual also feel
You
good
feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What now? Should now if you look at bien now.
you say,
It's like,
"Oh, Charlie."
damn girl.
Yeah.
I look good.
And, I forgot to mention something. In marriage, it's highs and lows. So sometimes the way we react to those lows, or the way we adjust to those lows, also gives us some unhappiness or satisfaction.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you got married, your husband had a good job or your wife had a good job, maybe a sickness comes in or something happens and the person is not what they were or what you saw in the beginning. So adjusting to that change, sometimes it's a problem
Yeah.
if you're not able to.
I think it's really being realistic about life and knowing that it won't always be good.
And like Stephanie said, change happens.
Yeah, it's constant.
Constantly. So it's also about, one, making room for those changes, and two, not allowing some of the changes to actually make you recline or become a laissez-faire kind of person.
Yeah.
For example, childbirth. It's our number one.
Oh, number one.
Wahala.
We have relaxed.
Yes.
We are tired.
And then when you're pregnant, once I have the baby, I'm hitting the gym. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
15 years later.
Thank you very much.
You're still not there. Anyways, life is for living and making memories. So let the good times roll. Think fun, laughter, new experiences, excitement, exotic foods, amazing locations, and wait, all of that without breaking the bank. Impossible? No. Completely possible with Sunseekers Tours. Now, whether you want to go to Dubai, Singapore, Cape Verde, Bolgatanga, the Netherlands, or France, or if you want to join us, go to Zanzibar in a few weeks, well, you tell us where we'll take you there. Sunseekers Tours also offer corporate groups, families, and individual packages. The numbers to call are 020-204-4102, 020-204-4103. Check out all of the amazing deals and packages at www.sunseekerstours.com, and also on Facebook, Sunseekers Tours Ghana. On Instagram is Sunseekers Tours Ghana. GH. When I say Ghana, I mean GH. Sunseekers Tours. Memories of our tours are forever. Sunseekers Tours. Making priceless memories. If you'd like to go to Zanzibar with us, please call the numbers as well. To all of you who have been sending me messages on Facebook, I hope you get the messages, and we'll put out more details in the next few days, because we're going first week in September. So yeah, really exciting and really looking forward to that. Okay, so we just have about 5 minutes. So Stephanie, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes, and then we're going to close. Before we do that though, I do want to say a big thank you to all the bloggers out there who pick our show, and all of that. But I do want to gently remind you, please don't misconstrue the things that my guests say, because you make all of our hard work very, very almost pointless, when you pick stories and you pick portions, and it's not an accurate representation of what has been said. There are reputations and lives and families at stake. So as much as I appreciate you picking our stories and for, contributing to everything that we are at the show, please do be mindful not to quote my guests out of context. If you do that, I will come for you. I promise. So, yeah. Okay. So, Stephanie, last 2 minutes. Just your general advice to people who are married and looking for that happiness.
Like I say, I think you have to create your own happiness. I can only bring it back to myself. When my husband walks, I know my husband is coming home. He usually just gives me a 10-minute warning. I'm going to be here soon. I go upstairs, and this is like constant. I mean, every day since we've been married, if I'm home, I will go upstairs. I will get myself ready. If I don't really want to put makeup on, I tie my hair very nicely up, and I'll wear something that just looks good. I always go upstairs to get changed before John walks in. I've been doing that for 34 years because I don't want, that's what I know. That's all I know. So I'm just saying that if you get married, don't get lazy, really. Always think about how you feel and how it will make you feel, because when he walks through the door and he sees how you look, you feel good too. It's not really just always about him. And I also want to say that, guys, allow your women to flourish, to come out of themselves, to show you who they could actually be. Instead of put stipulations of marriage. I know that your parents and your mothers were one way, but times have changed. Women want to be a bit better for you. They want to be able to come out of themselves to make you feel good as well as themselves. Allow them to be that way. Allow them to also vocalize how they're feeling to you without you taking it personally. Also understand how they feel when they come into bed with you, how you make them feel. Don't pick on things that would make them feel bad about themselves. Always elevate your women. If they're doing something that you don't like, there's ways of doing it. You can sit in the moments where you're both quiet and tell her what you actually think without being accusatory, like have a conversation. So I say, both of you have to sort of work hard towards making each other feel good. But from a lady's point of view, I say, listen, before your husband walks out the door, please try hard. I don't care how many children you have. I have had 5, and I never faltered one day. Trust me, he'll never walk into the house and see me looking like I I I came from a farm. No, I would always look a certain way. It's not about putting on makeup. It's not about putting on stupid hair. If you don't have time to do all that, put your hair up. Your nails, you don't have to go and have nail extensions. You can sit at home and just clean it yourself. Why? So it's not really about money. It's just really about, you see me, I have enough, but I'll still make my own things. I don't have to spend money to feel good about myself. I can do most things. I do my own hair and I can afford to get it done. So I'm just saying that don't always think it's about money. It's about how you feel and how it makes you feel when you make somebody else happy.
Well, thank you for that. Stephanie's used up all the time. Yeah. So, so, so yeah. No closing remarks for you guys, but thank you so much for joining us. Efwa and Abeku, can we have 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Okay, go ahead. 30 seconds.
I would say it's about managing expectations and communication.
Yeah.
These are the 2 key things.
Okay.
If you can communicate, you'll be fine.
You're good, and not have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would also add that build that friendship and know that sexual satisfaction is not automatic.
It's not
Both
automatic.
parties have roles to play.
You have to work at it.
Bring
It
your
takes
game
2.
on. Bring your A game
read
on.
the books, learn the styles, be creative.
Oh, no.
Don't be
Yeah.
shy.
But that applies to everything in
Absolutely.
life. Read the books, learn the style, be
Educate
creative.
yourself and
It could
apply
be
it.
fashion, it could be everything.
I totally
Okay,
agree.
thank you so much, Stephanie. Bye.
Bye.
She wants us to. We're sorry, we've run out of time. Maxwell Adbadai here with the 8 o'clock news. This is Strong and Sassy. My name is Enima Enimado. We'll do this again next week, Wednesday. Stay safe out there.